And how about geographic farming? How large is your geographic farm?
Well, mine is large. I actually have about 1,100 people in my geographic farm. And I can give you some very specific guidelines on what I think is a smart way to geographic farm. You first have to figure out how many people you can afford to mail to. I believe that you need to send 2 to 3 pieces of mail per month for years to come. So that means most people aren't going to be able to start with a 1,000-person farm.
Right.
I think that if you can find that number of people, whether it's 100 or 200, your neighborhood possibly doing something different, like your sphere of influence, or your church group, or the soccer moms, or whatever that group may be, because you may need to pick a smaller group in order to mail on a more regular basis. You need to look at turnover rates if it's a geographic farm. If you're going to mail to 250 people and there's been one listing in the last 3 years, pick a different 250 people. Mm-hmm. You want a 4 to 5% turnover ratio in your group. And then say, okay, if I'm going to have a 4 to 5% turnover ratio in 200 people or 500 people or 1,000 people, what are my listing expectations? Because you can't mail to 200 people and expect to list 10 houses that next coming year. So building in appropriate expectations along with an appropriate plan is very important with geographic farming. So you've got the right number of people 2 to 3 times per month with a decent turnover rate. You keep doing it no matter if you don't get a single call for a year or 2. What you do to kickstart that is you hope that you get a couple of expired listings in there, which get a double whammy, which is great. Mm-hmm. You do your brand image advertising in some fashion. If it's a geographic farm, do they have a neighborhood newsletter? Mm-hmm. If it's a church group, is there a newsletter? What affordable way can you get an advertising piece in there to support who you are as a person will help the mail immensely. Doing things like having a group activity. I know Chris Dykes has had a lot of success with doing some holiday get-togethers in his neighborhood, which has made his geographic farm much more valuable. So, do you do pumpkins at Halloween, or do you do the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus or whatever it might be to get your face in front of these people? I've never been one to door knock, but if you've got the time, if you're going to put the money into doing a geographic campaign, picking up the phone and calling every once in a while to 4 or 5 people in the neighborhood. Did you get my mailings? Do you have any questions? Did you know the house down the street just sold, even if it wasn't your sale? Mm-hmm. Gets that ball rolling a lot faster. But this is years. I mean, this is something you start today to help your career in 2013 and 15 and 2020. So you can't necessarily put all your eggs in that basket, because you will starve to death in 2012.